Sorry about that. So we're going to call this meeting to order. So thank you guys for attending tonight's Planning Commission regular meeting. Today is September 4th, 2025, and we are going to get started. We have one case on the agenda, but it's definitely going to be a case to be heard. So with that, I'd like to start with a roll call to make sure that we have quorum. So when you hear your name called, please say present or be recognized. So I'll start with Commissioner Cheryl Davis. Present. Commissioner Jeanette Hardy.
Present.
Commissioner Robin Meyer.
Present.
Commissioner Andres Miller.
Present.
And I am Commissioner Dante Philpott, and I am obviously here. Commissioner Carl Valenzano.
Present.
And Commissioner Venice Walker. Present. Thank you very much, and we have a quorum. So we will go ahead and go to the next item on the agenda, number 3, which is the approval of past minutes. I know that it was deferred. What do we have? June and July was deferred till today. So Mr. Wheeler, did you have anything that you wanted to add or bring to the commission before?
No, sir. No. What I submitted to you is what I presented is for approval.
Oh, okay. So with that, I'll go ahead and open the floor for any of the commissioners to make any recommendations for changes or suggestions. The floor is open.
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I'd make a motion to that we approve the minutes of these last 3 meetings.
Okay. So before we make the motion, I think there was some minor corrections. So do we want to make the motion to approve it with the corrections or amendments that were made via email?
Yes, good point.
So I'll let you make that motion, the amended motion.
I move that we approve the minutes of the June, July, and August meetings with the amendments provided via email.
All right, we have a motion to approve the prior meeting's minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. All right, the ayes have it. The previous meetings minutes have been approved. So with that, we will move to the next item on the agenda, which is number 4, any unfinished business. So Mr. Wheeler, I will turn it over to you for any unfinished business, if there is any.
No, sir. No unfinished business.
Gotcha, okay. And I'll leave the floor open for any planning commissioners. If there's any unfinished business that you guys wanted to bring forward, I don't think there is, but I want to make sure that you have the opportunity. Going once, going twice. Okay. No unfinished business. So with that, we will move to the next item. Excuse me. The next item on the agenda, which is new business. So that's number 5, subset A. Rezoning case REZ-2025-003 at 140 Veterans Memorial Highway. Request to rezone approximately 23,000 square feet to a 2.08 acre parcel from PSC to CRC. Actually, did you?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, I'm going
Yes.
to recuse myself on this application because in my previous volunteer work here in Mableton, I took a public position on the same application when it was pending before the Cobb County Commission. Because of this, I'm concerned that my impartiality as a member of this body could be in question, and I certainly don't want that to be the case. So, thank you.
Thank you. And we will give Commissioner Meyer a moment to recuse herself. Okay. So with that, and I point of privilege, Mr. Wheeler, I want to thank Commissioner Meyer for voluntarily recusing herself from this particular case. I think this entire planning commission, we try to hold ourselves to a very high standard, and we want to make sure that we don't do anything to denigrate or cast any aspersions on this commission or the city council. So we thank her for her transparency and making sure that this planning commission is held to a very high standard. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and I concur. As you call, sir, the only case on this item today is RZ 25-003. Applicant is Margesh. I can't even say the name. I apologize. Margaresh, thank you, LLC. The applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property located at 140 Veterans Memorial Highway from community retail commercial / planned shopping center to community retail commercial. So for those who are wondering, the subject property next to it does have the same address. So for the record, I want to indicate what parcel ID number this subject property that is going through the rezoning request. It is 18004300170. So this parcel, it has the address as well as 140, but this parcel itself is going through the rezoning request, not the subject property next door to it. The total acreage of the subject property is 2.75 acres. Again, the subject property, as you can see on the site plans, aerial map shows the subject property has the zoning of CRC, along with approximately 23,000 square feet has a other sliver of PSC. This is the aerial map as well of showing the subject property. Currently, the property is undeveloped as it has frontage along Veterans Memorial Highway. There isn't an existing access on ingress or egress onto the site. There is one adjacent to the subject property. Next slide. This is the proposed site plan of the subject property. The applicant is seeking to develop approximately a 37,210 square foot motel. The proposed building will feature wood framing and stucco architect. All rooms will be accessed via an exterior walkway. The motel will operate a total of operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no conference room, banquet halls, or proposed restaurants for this project. As you can see in the site plan, access onto the site will be through a access easement in agreement, not access easement, but access on the subject property with the access onto the site instead of along Veterans Memorial Highway. There's a total of 51 parking spaces required. The applicant is showing 51 parking spaces. There is a sidewalk along Veterans Memorial Highway. The applicant is also seeking a variance for the emergency access turnaround, as that access turnaround is located within the 35-foot landscape buffer located along the eastern property line abutting the Lindley Middle School. This because the applicant is requesting a CRC. There's required the CRC zoning category requires a 35-foot landscape buffer along any residential zone property. The Lindley Middle School is zoned residential, therefore that is the reason why there's a 35-foot landscape buffer. So if this is approved, you are essentially approving the variance request to have the emergency access inside the landscape buffer. Also to make a note of that, again, so private utilities access drives may come through a landscape buffer. However, turnarounds are not allowed. So that's why they're seeking a variance for that as well too. This is the proposed elevations, again, of the subject property. As I mentioned earlier, the elevation shows a mixture of stucco, wood framing, as well as some brick on the outside located on the rear elevation of the subject property. This is the criteria which you'll be making your decision based off this evening. Staff has provided analysis of these criteria in your staff report, along with Cobb County comments as well from Department of Transportation, Water and Sewer, Fire, as well as Stormwater. After review of the application and staff and review of the application and its comments from Cobb County other departments, staff is requesting that the application be recommended denial of this application. And previously in your staff reports, staff did recommend a deletion. However, staff is going to ask for a recommendation of denial instead of a deletion to NRC. So staff is recommending just a straight denial of the application. Do you have any questions of staff at this time?
Sorry. So excuse me, one of the questions that I have with regards to the variance for the buffer. Can you go back to the aerial shot? I think it was like within the first 3 or 4 slides. Yeah, there we go. So what we're looking at is the aerial shot, as I look at it on my left, and it shows the property split between CRC and PSC. Is that?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to figure out and what I'm trying to understand is, yes, there are 2 zoning categories, but without the PSC portion, would it not meet emergencies standards for that turnaround? Hopefully the question that I'm asking makes sense.
Sorry, are you asking if they shorten the emergency turnaround to not be located in the PSC, would they still meet the standards for approval?
Right.
I do not know that off the top of my head. I would have to contact the fire department regarding that, sir.
Okay. And for the record, future land use for this property is NAC, correct?
Yes, sir. It is Neighborhood Activity Center.
Okay. Do you have you're more than welcome to, I'm not going to be offended if you don't have the answer to this question, but a list of, or at least a short list of prohibited uses and allowable uses for that future land use category?
No, sir, not on hand. That would take a minute to create that list.
Gotcha. Okay. And the floor is open, by the way, for any planning commissioner with any questions. I don't want to commandeer everything. Well, I'll leave it open for PCs to ask questions of staff first, and we can clear that, and then we can do public hearing after that. I just want to make sure that we all have the opportunity to ask staff questions.
Chair, the staff is available to answer any questions. So if you want to move forward to a public hearing, we can do that.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Before you open the public hearing, I would like to read just a reminder as well.
Yes.
As each agenda item is brought before the city staff will present the application, the background, the property involved, and provide a recommendation. After staff has presented the application, the applicant or applicant's agent will give his or her presentation of the item. The applicant time is limited to a total of 10 minutes. The application may designate any remaining time for rebuttal to any opposition to the application. All registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard and will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes, not each. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation to the board, to the commission, and then the pro applicant speakers have been heard, the chair will then call upon the registered speakers who wish to speak against the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to 10 minutes total, not each. And after the public comments have been heard, the planning commissioners members will then discuss the requests among themselves. Upon motion and second by members of the planning commission, any action on the application may be taken to approve, deny, withdraw, or to hold the application for which the application is made. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate the public hearing. And the applicant is here too as well, sir.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we will open it up for public comments. And just to reiterate once again, it'll be 10 minutes in support of total. So that can be one person or 10 people, but you have 10 minutes. And then it'll be 10 minutes for anyone that's opposed. And that can be 1 people or 10 people, but it'll be 10 minutes. So you guys determine how you like to share those 10 minutes. But we will go ahead and open it up for public comments. So we will start with anyone that's in support of this particular application. Mr. Wheeler did mention that the applicant is here. So applicant, if you'd like to step forward.
The owner and developer of the proposed project. We received a letter from MIC recommendations a couple of days ago, and then I kind of emailed to the same people pretty sure if you guys have a chance to read those because it's a lengthy. So I would go just to brief on those same things. MIC is trying to recommend denial of this project, but we strongly think that Mableton needs our project. First of all, we started this project like back in 2022 with Cobb when the jurisdiction fall under the Cobb County, and then we followed all their procedures, and then this project was approved by all of the Cobb County departments except the landscaping, and we just had one comment left to take care of or to address to get the land development permit from Cobb County, and that's when the transition came in, and City of Mableton took over the process of permitting. Also, MIC is recommending that our project is not going to be an asset to the city or the community, but I think our project is like $5 million project, and we are going to pour like 1.7 million of our own hard money. So we have did all those due diligence, and with 25 years of in this industry, we feel strongly that there is a need of a motel, and also there is an existing same caliber 40 rooms, I think right across the City of Mableton new office, with well or very high occupancy, and that property was built about 20 years ago, and then within these 20 years, the city has grown, the population has grown, and looking at their numbers, we strongly feel that our project would greatly be successful. And also, it's not only gonna benefit ourselves, it's also gonna benefit a city, because the hotel has occupancy taxes, which other businesses doesn't, and good portion of the occupancy tax goes directly to the city. This project, as I said, is going to cost us $5 million, and we have a projection that once we are built, we would be doing around $1.2 to $1.5 million revenue from this project annually, and as per the city ordinance, 8% of the occupancy tax that we would be collecting from our guests would go to the City of Mableton. Plus the property taxes would be there, and also there would be some job creations because of this new project in the city. And also, there is a local bank. Well, they have a branch. It's not a local bank, but they do have a branch. It's called United Bank in Mableton City, and we went to them, and they got all of our documents and the projections, and they do their due diligence, because before any bank issuing the loan, they go through all the due diligence, because they don't lend where they don't feel comfortable or they think that they're gonna lose their money. So after doing all those due diligence, they approved our project, and they also strongly feel that our project would be a great success, and Mableton does need a hotel, because they also went through the numbers from the existing motel, and that existing motel is almost full every day. So maybe city is also losing some revenue, because those customers that would be accommodated inside the city limits has to go somewhere else. Also, this market condition is what brought us to the Mableton, where the current America's Best Value has experienced strong occupancy. The other thing I would like to bring up is also our proposed facility would bring guests to stay inside the city limits. In city of Mableton, they would bring the customers from travelers, people coming to visit their family, their relatives. In the people who lives over here, their relatives might come out of the town for the events, reunions, any school, colleges, games, any big events in neighboring towns. If they get full over there, we might get their overflow to the Mableton city. Construction crews, because the city is growing so fast, so there is a lot of construction going on. So we might have some construction crews staying at our facility, and the list goes on. All of our guests would shop and dine in Mableton city, so which would also benefit the other businesses like all the stores, gas stations, and restaurants, and all of the other businesses. And unwillingly, if any natural disaster happens, like I live in Houston, so there was like a Harvey, which dislocated a lot of people for so many days. So anything happens like that caliber, natural disasters in this area, or someone's house gets damaged by a tree fall or a fire or anything, they would need an accommodation. So our facility would provide them a temporary accommodation close to their own homes. They don't have to travel like half an hour or 1 hour away. Also, we are not applying actually for changing the zoning from like residential to commercial or something like that. Our property is current zoned, most like 90% of the property is CRC, and the little portion is PSC. So I don't know, the zoning line somehow went through the lot. It would have went along the property line. But it's currently it's a CRC. Most of the part is a CRC. So we are not like trying to apply for completely a different kind of a zoning. And also, since it's a split zone, we were recommended by City of Mableton permit or zoning department that still it would be better we rezone the property to be consistent with the land use, and so that our parcel doesn't stay split zoned after we are developed. And also, when we started looking into this lot, before we purchased, we wanted to make sure, so we applied for zoning back in 2023, and then we removed our application in 2023 because we were told by the Cobb County Permitting Department that rezoning is not needed by them if we have our building on CRC portion. So that's how our architect and engineer draw the whole plan. So we removed our application back then because we were going to utilize the CRC portion. And after that, we submitted the whole set of plan to the Cobb County Department, and then they all reviewed turn by turn, because they have some different procedures to go that our engineer has to submit to the different departments. So all of them reviewed and approved our building plans, except the landscaping. And also landscaping didn't have anything to do with the zoning, but before we got transferred to the Mableton city, the landscaping comment that was left to be addressed was regarding the lights, the distance between the lights and the trees, and that is the comment that my architect was taking care of. And by the time they submitted, after taking care of the distance, I think they need 20 feet distance from each other. And that is when I got transferred to the Mableton city, and Cobb County denied that the jurisdiction was changed, so they cannot do anything about it. So we had to again submit our
Sorry, sir,
whole
that's
set of
your
plan
time.
to the Mableton city. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we go to anyone that's here to speak in opposition, I'll open it or leave it open for any planning commissioner that had any questions of the applicant. If you don't right now, that's fine. We can go to anyone that's speaking in opposition. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just continue with the public
Okay.
hearing portion, to let the outside, and then once you close it, then you open, to everybody, so everyone can hear, well, everything, and then answer the questions all at once.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so public comment will remain open. So now anyone that is here to speak in opposition to the application, please step forward. And again, you'll have 10 minutes. You can take, the 10 minutes can be for one person, or it can be shared between 10 people, but it's your 10 minutes to use, so.
My name's Steve Young. I represent the Mableton Improvement Coalition, and we are speaking on behalf of denial of this application, principally because the future land use for this area is in our NAC, and that one of the prohibited uses of that is hotels and motels. So that is the character of this area was determined to be low use, low density usage, and a lodging facility would be incompatible with the character of the corridor and may adversely affect the usability of other parcels in the area. And so we believe that this should be the overriding factor in denying this application. Additionally, this application, when we received it, had an incomplete site plan, and there was no visible detention pond shown in the plan, which is required for this kind of activity. And there's no way to evaluate how this detention pond would fit into the existing landscape. The elevations provided do not comply with the Veterans Memorial Highway guidelines, and this needs to be remediated as well. There are no benefits for this facility as like conference halls, restaurants, anything that would benefit the community itself. And the idea of, Mableton needing a hotel is probably a very good idea, but there are probably better parcels in the area that are more suited for this activity and that are already appropriately zoned, or the future land use map accommodates these kind of activities. So once again, I reiterate that I would like to, that Mick would like to see this application denied. Thank you.
And a point of order, Mr. Wheeler, I don't know if you kicked off the 10 minutes. I did. I just realized. Okay, no worries. Come on up, sir.
A minute or 2 minutes?
Let's say 3. 2? Okay. Okay.
All right. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is Travis McComb with Cobb County School District. This rezoning case we oppose due to the location being adjacent to a middle school, Lindley Middle School. Thank you.
Mignon Good Bigelow, resident of Mableton.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. Oh, it looked like it stopped. Okay, go ahead.
As a resident, I oppose the building of this hotel for several reasons. One, it's next to a middle school. Two, as a homeowner, it would decrease the value of my property, because if someone wants to buy into my community, they're going to be looking, and they have children, they're going to be looking at the schools. And if there is a hotel next to a middle school, they're not going to want to purchase. Also, it is not a good look for a motel to be next door to a middle school. And I agree, there are other parcels along Veterans Highway that would be better suited, but not at 140 Veterans Memorial Highway. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Jenny. I also I live near Mignon, who just spoke, and I also would like to oppose this proposal for the same reasons, the proximity to the middle school and to the neighborhood in which I live. I think it's probably a wonderful idea to have a motel in Mableton, just not in that location. Thank you.
My name is Brenda Nash, and I'm a citizen of Mableton, a lifetime citizen, and I agree that we probably do need a motel to accommodate, to pull people from the Six Flags area, visitors over to our area, part of town to visit. But I think there would be looking more for a hotel for a family with a swimming pool, accommodations, more of a name brand where they can look online and find it online, that type of situation, versus an independent hotel that may or may not have that outreach to the people coming in from out of state. Another concern is, I am concerned with the, if in fact it is going to be an extended stay hotel, whether or not there would be accommodations if people were not able to stay in the hotel for an extended period of time and they were forced out, where they would be able to go to from there. We all know that Mableton has a homeless population problem, and we all know that it needs to be addressed and facilitated. But this probably would not be the solution, in that when the funds were not there, they would not have nowhere to go to once they had to leave the hotel. So if that was part of the decision, but we would, citizens, recognize the problem and would like to help in any way that we can with that issue. And I know the city of Mableton is working on it as well. Also, as we all know, the bus barn is coming. Whether we want it or not, it's coming down the street. It's going to be very congested in that area. It already is. We've already lost a school patrol person in that area due to the congestion and the speed on the highway in that particular area. So I just don't think adding that more and more congestion in that particular area would be a good idea. Thank you.
My name is Amy. I am also a neighbor. I have a few neighbors here. Oh, sorry. My name is Amy. I also live in a neighborhood that is extremely close to where they're wanting to put this motel, next to a middle school, a school in general. I feel like we already heard the area is not zoned for something like that, and next to a school. I very much oppose it. I do think this will greatly affect my property value as my neighbors. There are plenty of other parcels of land that are much more appropriate than right there next to the middle school and literally right behind my neighborhood. And I'd love to see, if we were going to get a hotel motel in Mableton, maybe something that's not quite a motel would be more suited, like someone said, that would have a pool, that would draw people in. This isn't really drawing people in to spend their money in Mableton, having it be a motel. So I do oppose this. I think that that location is not appropriate. I feel like that it's not going to bring value to Mableton. I think as we're looking at businesses to come into Mableton, we're trying to look at businesses that are going to lift Mableton up. This is not a business that's going to lift Mableton up. This is a great city. We just got cityhood, fantastic city. We need businesses that are really going to improve our city. This will not do it. Thank you.
still have 3 minutes, so if there's anyone else that wants to speak, you got
I'm
3
an
minutes.
expressive. This is great. Okay, all right. I'm Susan Blackburn. I also live in the same neighborhood with Mignon and Amy, and I forgot your name already, so sorry. Okay. There are several things that I would deny this right away. I am a long-term resident here as well. We moved here from Nashville, Tennessee. I have watched what motels do to a community inside of Donaldson, Tennessee. All we have to do is go visit. I have yet to hear things of this nature. I respect the fact that you have market analysis for your motel. I really do. I'm actually a marketer myself. So the question I have is your assessment of the population growth. Do you know what part of the population grew? I believe the population growth was related to new home purchases. I, for one, don't see families coming in to stay at a motel. I don't see how that's going to work. But I also know this, Lindley Middle. I have watched those kids walking up down those sidewalks every single morning and just watch the parents watch those kids cross that street. Now we're going to open up strangers to literally live next door to them. There's a playground, there's a parking lot, there's all different ways for strangers to entice a child. I will not go into my background as a child, but I can tell you, being that kid who gets enticed, I would question every parent here. Would you want your kid walking across that parking lot at that motel? Thank you.
So we have 1 minute and 35 seconds left. If there's anyone else that would like to speak in opposition, you have 1 minute and 35 seconds. So I'll hold for a moment to give anyone else the opportunity to step to the podium. Okay, doesn't look like we have anyone else that wants to speak in opposition. So at this time, we will close the public comment section. And we'll come back to the planning commissioners. If any of the PCs, if there's any questions for the applicant that you want to hear addressed, let's rattle these questions off. Let's get these questions answered. Is this question for the applicant? Okay. Yes, please step back to the podium.
And just as a quick point, I guess it may help run better if there's any other questions for the applicant to follow this, and then maybe move on to other questions. So while you have the applicant here, so if any other members have similar questions, we might ask it now just to help it facilitate.
Yes.
I first want to thank you for considering Mableton to bring business here. It took us a while to get to this point, and we know that we are a gem, and a lot of eyes are on us. So thank you for that. My question is, since the customer base for motels primarily serve the transient population, what specific measures will you implement to ensure all guests are appropriately screened and authorized to be in close proximity to a school and minors?
I didn't get could you repeat it, please?
I said, since the customer base for motels primarily serve the transient population, what specific measures will you implement to ensure all guests are appropriately screened and authorized to be in close proximity to a school and minors?
Well, the way we run our business is we have our own working partner on premises 24/7. So it basically they keep an eye, or they keep the safety of the property always, that we don't allow any customers doing any wrongful. And plus, Mableton is not like on an interstate. So most of our clientels we target is people visiting their own family around this area, the construction crews working in this area. It's not like people going through the interstate and just staying a night and then just leaving next day. So, and also we have employees 24/7 on the property. they stay over there. One of the partners. So basically, they can the partner has invested in this property, so he would take care more better way than any other employees would, because he has his own money at stake.
And so all of that was saying, so there will be no official screening process. It will be a typical check-in and check-out situation like a typical one.
Yeah, but we do take all the IDs and whatever the state requires, because state requires to have all their IDs and all the informations to be screened, and then we also store their IDs and everything required by the state. So if any we have all the information basically for the customer. It's not like you can just walk in and then just walk out and we don't have your information.
And you have security
Yes,
24/7?
24/7.
I have a question. I'm speaking of security. Can you talk to me about your actual security camera surveillance? Where will they be placed throughout the facility, and will it capture each end of the hotel entry points to the room?
Not only entry, like each and every corner of backside, front side, or the whole parking lot, the whole corridors, the public areas, breakfast areas, lobby. We cannot go into the rooms with the camera, but everything else, everything will be camera. And most of the hotels now does that.
I have another question. In your entry point to the room, are they key card, files?
Key card, yes.
Quick question. Is your microphone working? It didn't seem like it was on.
It didn't seem like it was.
Yeah,
Okay,
now you sound like you're on.
She was
Sorry.
right next to me, so I could hear her.
I do have a question for you. So you mentioned the location of the motel would support retail. Based on your studies, can you describe what retail or attractions are within, let's say, a 3 to 5 mile radius from that site?
So I think 3 to 5 mile covers the whole Mableton city. All the restaurants, fast food restaurants inside the city limits it's within proximity.
Anything in specific though that comes to mind?
Not really.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I have another question. Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry. I forgot my other question. You mentioned that it would be job creation coming to Mableton, but you just mentioned that the person who is going to be staying on site is one of the investors.
He would be the manager.
So
yeah.
how many jobs will be created for citizens of Mableton potential outside of the people who are investing in the property?
For this size hotel, I would say about 15.
Okay.
Because we need front desk people, the housekeepers, maintenance.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if this is so much a question. Yeah, it kind of is. And I know we're beating security over the head, but in your analysis, in the research that you did, unfortunately, Mableton does have a homeless problem. Mm-hmm. And was that considered? Because at the price point that you have this hotel, that would be a draw for some of them.
We did, but what price point are you thinking that we would charge a person?
Well, I'm looking at what it said, $90 to $120. That's what you said.
So yeah,
Yeah.
We are not talking about 30 or 40. We won't even survive a couple of months if we charge $30, $40. $90 to $120 is a good amount of money. I don't think homeless people would be able to afford those.
It'll be okay.
So a concern that was raised by the community was with regards to a detention pond. As we look at the site plan, I cannot identify a detention pond, and I also had the opportunity to pull up the original application from 2023, and there's a comment from Stormwater Management with regards to a detention pond, and it says if there's an existing pond on the adjacent property, it may be an old inline stream pond, which is not currently allowed. I don't recall seeing anything that addresses the detention pond, but can you describe what you guys have done to address the detention pond issue?
So, detention application is on. Okay. So, what you see on the back side with those like little L shape, that's a proposed detention pond. Cobb County reviewed the whole set of plan, and actually detention pond falls in the civil plans. And also now Mableton City has their own permitting department in place. So they have to do all those diligence and review process to make sure we have adequate detention, and we are proposing our own detention. So the question back from 2023 with the existing, we kind of it was too much of a studies and too much of a easements and all that. So we kind of decided to make our own detention. So that's the detention. And as I said, the departments, the permitting department has already done the due diligence and review for the detention, and also landscaping. There is a complete separate landscaper architect we hired, and he has drawn the whole landscaping as per the requirement of the Cobb County back then. And all those plans are already with the Mableton City permitting department. But we do have landscaping and detention of our own. Because there is like 125 pages of full set of plan, so I cannot. Every detail is on a different sheet, but we do have our own. We are proposing our own detention, and we have adequate landscaping as per the Cobb County requirements.
Okay.
I have a question. On your elevations, it looks like the majority of your building materials is stucco, and our design guidelines require 75% brick, and then 25% stucco. So how are you going to address that?
Well, if I'm not right, I'll have to confirm with my architect, but they did the requirements, whatever the brick or the stucco was required, and if I would again go back to them, and if they have to change, it's not late to change. Or complete opposite, like if the stucco is required lesser, then we can just flip wherever it's showing brick, we can do stucco, and we can put more bricks wherever it's showing. But I would have to confirm. But off of my mind, I think they did all this. They have all those requirements, and also this same plan was submitted to the Cobb County. If there would be any insufficient, or if it would be not meeting those requirements, they would have obviously commented my architect to go back and revise it, because they won't issue a building permit until all those comments are satisfied.
I understand that, but the City of Mableton guidelines do require 75% brick and 25% stucco.
Yeah, so that is okay. If that's different than the because it just got transferred. So I think we will get those comments from City of Mableton Planning Department, and it's not a big deal to change from brick to stucco or stucco to brick. So we can address our, as long as it falls under Mableton City, we can always go back and replace it or change it before we start building.
I have another question. will you have a maximum stay policy?
1 day. We don't rent, yeah, we don't rent weeklies, we don't rent monthlies, no, only 1 day, daily. So, but also same time, like if say your relatives are visiting for a long weekend and they want 2 nights or 3 nights, but they have to pay daily. Like somebody comes in and say, oh, we want to rent monthly, we don't rent monthly. If they ask for weekly, we don't rent weekly. But some guests want to stay throughout a long weekend, then we would rent them like 2 to 3 days. Because we cannot just tell them, oh, you can only stay here 1 day and then you have to leave. So that's how we rent, yeah.
So no official maximum stay policy, but you'll take it on a case-by-case basis?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know if I am allowed to say, is one of the resident had a question or that it's gonna be an independent, non-visible to online, but that's not the case. We are proposing a nationwide chain, like a mid-scale, say Super 8, Days Inn, Quality Inn, similar kind, or one of those, and they have their own channels for online, their own websites, plus the Expedia, Booking.com, and all the engines.
Yeah, you just can answer or
Okay.
answer questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Your time to speak was the 10 minutes you were allotted.
With the motel check-in time being 3 o'clock, I think
After 3.
I was thinking that would overlap with school dismissal window. Because they typically, I think, middle school, I'm not certain, I don't have a middle school, but I think they possibly get out within that window. I was just thinking about the congestion it may cause in that area. So what will you do to help minimize the pedestrian risk, since there's so many children who walk that sidewalk, that area? Many of the students walk home, or they wait nearby for the buses in that area. What are you prepared to do to minimize the risk?
For that question, I have a couple of things. First, if you would see right along the west, the Memorial Highway, the tax dot made us just to take care, because there is a axle lane for the school buses. The tax dot did their study, and then they made us propose the DXL lane. You would see that those 2 little arrows. So we gonna have the DXL lane going to our property. So basically, any car coming to us would go first to the DXL lane off of the highway, and then they would come into our property. And also, when our policy is anytime after 3, but say if you go somewhere, you don't have to be like exit 3 o'clock over there to check in. Like we have 50 rooms. We're not gonna be sold out every day. We wish we would, but all the customer doesn't come at same time. So after 3, so whenever you are able to come, like some people would come at 3:30, 4, 4:30, 5. Most of the people come late in the evening at the motel, like you have your business to do or whatever you work to do, and then when it's a late evening, that's when you try to go to a motel for sleeping. So I think that would not make the school traffic conflict, because our customer doesn't come at the same time. They come one by one, and during over the time between 3 and 8 or 9 at night. Now, also, the same thing happens when they check out. They don't check out all at same time, so they go wherever they need to go. So.
Okay, I know this isn't a thing tonight, but I do have another question.
Sure.
Do you own any other motels locally? And if so, can you share with us?
We have one in Douglasville.
Where?
Douglasville.
Oh, in Douglasville?
Yeah.
Can you give me the name of that?
America's Best Value Inn. America's Best Value Inn.
Can you tell us what street that's located on, if you don't mind?
Sure. And that property is like 50 years old, but we welcome all of you to go over there and see our condition and the operation and the cleanliness and the safety around this property, because it's a 120-room property.
Can you tell us what street that's located on?
It's right off of highway, Interstate 20.
5481 Westmoreland Plaza.
I'm sorry, 5481?
Westmoreland Plaza.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have another question.
You don't have to be sorry. You ask more question, I'm happy.
Okay.
As much question you can ask.
I want to go back to your 24-hour on-site security manager. So is that one staff member, or there are multiple people that will be covering that 24-hour shift? Because I'm trying to understand if the 50 rooms include their living facility, or is there a separate facility for the 24-hour security manager?
No, so we have 8-hour shift.
Okay.
So every 8 hours, it will keep changing.
Okay, so there'll be 3 different security managers. Okay. Okay.
They have to sleep too.
So I do have a question for you. With regards to this particular plot or this parcel, can you describe the, I guess, the what we would call the character of Veterans Memorial Highway? Like when you go down Veterans Memorial, what do you see? What is the overarching character of VMH, as we call it?
So regarding the character of that area, if you drive 2 miles east and 2 miles west of that our proposed project, you would see a lot of car resales place, garage, multiple closed, abandoned businesses, shopping center like almost half closed, and a lot of buildings unattended or closed. Versus ours is gonna be a new construction, nice looking place, and also the some needed use for the city. Because this city, as we said before, it needs a motel for accommodating people coming from outside, the construction people, the visitors, the relatives, and all of them.
Okay. And what, I guess, another question that I have is why this particular parcel? Because as I look at the property that you have in Douglasville, it looks like it is right off of I-20. This particular parcel is on VMH, which it's a major arterial roadway, but it's not right off of 20 or 285 or whatever. So why this particular parcel?
But Mableton City doesn't have an interstate. They have 2 highways going through, and this is one of the major thoroughfares, as you said. So that's where we have to go. Like the hotels are meant to be on highways, and this is the major highway going through the Mableton. There is no interstate going through the Mableton. If there would be, we would be going to the interstate or exit closer to the, but there is no exit or no freeway over here in Mableton City. So that's why we chose the highway location, the major highway or major traffic highway location.
Okay. Any other questions from any of the planning commissioners? Or any other comments from any planning commissioners? Okay. So no other questions, no other comments. So at this time, would we like to let's entertain a motion for a decision? Or let's say, excuse me, not a decision, wrong word, recommendation from the Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I am prepared to offer a motion of denial of REZ 2025-003 based on staff recommendations and the proximity to Lindley Middle School being incompatible with what we've discussed this evening.
All right, excuse me. So we have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I will second.
We have a second. So, how do I want to say this? All in favor of the motion to deny, let me make sure I say this right. Hold on. There we go. All in favor of the motion to deny, or excuse me, recommend denial for Z 2025-03, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Looks like the ayes have it. This recommendation will pass. There we go. And we will move to the next item on the agenda. Excuse me, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is 5B, Planning Commission Work Session. If you could have a seat, sir, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Meyer, if you can hear us, please come back to the room, please. Oh, wait, you're okay. I just looked down and noticed it.
Give her a second to log back into her computer.
I think you just. We're ready, Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, sir. So on the agenda is a discussion regarding Planning Commission work session. I know there's been some discussions internally regarding their Planning Commission having a work session. There's an initial idea of us trying to schedule a work session before the Planning Commission. However, it seems that there might be a need for a separate meeting to discuss or to hash out specific details that comes along when it comes to certain zoning applications. I've seen some of the emails that you guys submitted to us is saying we probably should have a work session. We've been relying on the city attorney's guidance regarding the work session. So therefore, we would like to bring it to the public forum to have an open air discussion regarding that and try to see if there is a compromise or at least some form or way of to be able to satisfy you guys' request to have a work session.
Okay. So you mentioned city council's, I guess, guidelines with regards to a work session. Can you, I guess, state what those guidelines are? And then
no, it's not guidelines, but just kind of similar. Well, let me kind of back up. I have never did a planning commission work session before. This is new to me. And so I am unfamiliar with how that process goes as far as a work session. Not sure how that actually will entail of a work session where you can actually discuss the application without actually doing anything or making a judgment case and then move into an actual public hearing. I'm unfamiliar with that. I'm unfamiliar with even the board having that type of power to have a work session, then close that work session, and then move into another hearing. Therefore, that's why I'm asking the city attorney to kind of help us go through that process to understand exactly, as this board is comprised now, what can they do? Can they have a work session? If they can't have a work session, how can that actually happen? And what would it entail to look like? Because again, we're having some conversations, but I just don't know, to be honest with you, because again, that is a foreign concept to me. And so I would like some guidance to understand exactly how can I facilitate a work session, but also be able to address your concerns about having more time to discuss conversations with staff and to have a more efficient meeting.
Okay.
And I don't know if it'd be helpful if you want to hear from Plan Commission first, like what you guys are trying to do with the work session, or if you'd like to hear like some general just concerns or things of note first, and maybe that'll help.
So,
Push it.
I mean, I'll kick us off. I think the general idea is for us to have the opportunity to not necessarily review a zoning case, but have the opportunity, I guess, well, let's say review it, ask questions, get clarity, and if there are any particular questions that we have that maybe we want to address to staff or maybe address to the applicant, maybe we can do that beforehand and make sure that we're all prepared. We have answers to our questions before, as opposed to some things that may come up here in the regular meeting or regular hearing, and then we don't have answers to those questions. And any other PC, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah. Go ahead, Commissioner Meyer.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
Thank you. So the thought process in preparing for this position, I attended a few of the Cobb County Planning Commission work sessions. And what I observed is that they do allow time for a question similar to what Chairman Philpott asked earlier about allowed uses and things like that to be investigated, I guess, to come back with an answer. Whereas right here in this meeting, we may not be able to get that answer in a very short time frame. Also, it allows the commissioners to get more clarification on history of a property. I know in this particular case that we heard earlier this evening, there was a point at which it was an application before Cobb County. In the future, we will be dealing with things that may have been an application in the city of Mableton prior. And so it allows staff to make sure the commission has those historical facts and information. It's a public event, but it allows a little bit more back and forth, in my experience, sitting in on the Cobb County Plan Commission work sessions than this forum does here.
I would agree with Carl. I've attended only one or two of the Cobb County Planning Commission work sessions. They typically are about 10 days ahead of the Planning Commission meeting. And they really give the Planning Commission the opportunity for a little bit of fact-finding. I have a soft voice, sorry about that. They allow a little bit of fact-finding, and they also, I think they would, I'm speaking for myself, I think it would be especially helpful because we are so new at this. It's difficult to ask the staff a question as part of the hearing, get the answer, digest the answer, and still be present for the next thing that happens. And so I think that the opportunity to just walk through a case and make sure that we're square on the basic facts, and if there is history that's obviously going to be discussed, as is the case with an application like tonight's, and I believe some that we have coming up, make sure that we all understand what that history is and how it may or may not be applicable. And in a pinch, I guess it could be before our regular meetings, but I guess when I was appointed to this body, I was assuming it would be a separate meeting, that I was committing to 2 meetings a month, a work session and a public hearing. And I'm still very happy to do that.
Anybody, does anyone else have any comments?
Only if we do decide to have like a separate planning. I would prefer it not be on a Thursday. If it's not going to be before this meeting, then I prefer that it's not on a Thursday, because I've got, the things I can't miss 2 Thursdays out the month, so.
Very well. Thank you. And so I think I'm going to start with just some generalities. What Commissioner Valisano said, I think if you keep it generic, it's okay, because what you want to, as an overall thing, there's only one type of public meeting, right? If you call it a work session or a regular council meeting or this, it's just one meeting. They're all open to the public and they're all under the same Open Meetings Act. What I think you guys have to try and avoid is the appearance or making a determination before the public hearing. And that's what I'm afraid of with a work session and asking certain questions and getting a history, because it may give the appearance to the applicant that you're making your decision before you have an opportunity to hear from them. And that might be in violation of the Zoning Procedure Act. So that's only my one hesitation to be sure of. But if it's like Commissioner Valisano said, and you just want to know like what are generally applicable uses for CRC, and you don't discuss the particular property, that's a little bit different. Now you're just getting an overall thing. It doesn't give the appearance that you're trying to, or you may have made a determination before they have an opportunity to speak. So that's like the main thing. And that's why it's kind of all done at once, because that is the public hearing. That's where everything's out in the open. They get to come in and say what they want to say. The public gets to say what they want to say. So that's just one caution. And to, absorb that, I think we're happy, the city too, to do any number of training days that you want to do and meet where you can go through the whole zoning act. We can go through each district and kind of give you a real case, or maybe go through some mock cases to get an idea how that goes. Getting the staff report beforehand, like that's your opportunity. You can spend as much time as you want with Mr. Wheeler. Like when he does the staff report, you can ask him questions for an hour and get real thorough about what you're doing before you hear from the public. And that's an opportunity at that point to answer your questions and digest them and hear them without first hearing that. So you're like, okay, we got what's been applied. We see that. We got the city's report. I've asked the history, got a good context. And now I want to hear from the applicant and the public to help condition what my vote might be. So those are just some concerns with doing the work session before if you want to get granular, because that will have to be advertised. And the applicant would probably would show up. If I was the property owner, I would be showing up. I want to know what you guys are talking about and be there. So I would that's the concern, is trying to avoid, quote unquote, give like you guys making a decision before you get to the public hearing, or the appearance of that, because it wants to seem like they have a fair opportunity to say what they say. If you are concerned like with questions, I think we did mention you guys can email as many questions as you want to staff prior to the meeting too, and hopefully get some clarity. But those are just some of the concerns. I think it's doable if you really want to do one, but we'd caution it, and it has to be really limited in what you're asking and how you get to that, to avoid that. And so if your questions are more in the general sense, to get an idea of what's being applied for and how it makes the code, then that's more applicable. And then you get to the actual public hearing, and now you ask your very detailed questions about that specific property. And that way everybody's clear on what you're doing. So those are just some of the concerns and some of the, some of the rationale and some other options potentially to get more comfortable with each one.
So I guess I hear you saying that, for example, with tonight's application, if we had a work session about it, we would not have been able to ask the staff questions about the site plan, for example.
Right, yeah, I think that would get into the the situation now where, you're making a decision before the public hearing opportunity. Because that's kind of all together as one. The public hearing is the opportunity, that's the legal opportunity for the applicant to persuade you guys or, put their case forward. And so if you're asking specific questions at a work session where there won't be a public hearing and they don't have an opportunity to say anything, it may just give the appearance that, you're molding your potential answer or decision based upon what you're hearing, but you're only hearing it from one side, aka the city, if that makes sense.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but it kind of defeats the purpose of what I was looking at a work session for.
Right, and I guess, so my question, do you not feel that you could ask those questions like when you hear the staff report, like today? So when the meeting opens, you do your roll call, then you call the case, you hear the staff report, but before the public hearing, you don't think you can get your questions addressed during that time? Or just...
It's just difficult to do on the fly because the answers to those questions may well affect other information that I have, other conclusions that I've drawn from the material already presented. And so I don't mean to sound like a whinger here, but it sort of puts me in the position of having to try to digest something which might be significantly different than my assumption had been, and work that into what I'm thinking about this. I mean, I'm not saying that I would come to a public hearing with my mind made up, but I certainly have to come to the hearing with some basic understanding of the application. And so if I ask a question that changes that dramatically, then I've got to digest that and analyze that. At the same time, Chris goes on to answer somebody else's question. So I guess I was just looking for a way to sort of process that information ahead of time so I could go home and think about it.
Right. Have you emailed those questions beforehand and gotten a response, or is that?
I have some, but I guess I always thought we were going to have work sessions, so I just have been waiting for one.
Right.
So here's a question. So let's just say in a perfect scenario, let's just say that we did have work sessions.
Did you say you did or didn't?
I'm just making this up.
We did have work sessions.
We did.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just be clear. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So let's say that we did have work sessions. The types of questions that can be asked in a work session, it would have to strictly be limited to technical questions. Is that correct?
I think general would be probably the better word.
Okay, so and when I say technical, so like let's just say, for example, the question that I asked Mr. Willard this evening, allowable uses, non-allowable uses for any particular parcel. If it's zoned for NAC, CRC, whatever, hey, what are the allowable uses? Like if the future land use says this, what are the allowable uses? Let's get a list of that. What are the disallowed uses? What's this? Like those kinds of technical questions.
Yeah, like that would probably be, that's more in line. So if you're saying like, okay, I see CSC, zoning district, and you want to know, okay, what is that? Like, what does it kind of try and identify? What uses are applicable? That would be a question, and it'd be a generic question pursuant to the zoning code table uses. The types of permitted uses are, and you just list them down. Daycare, an ambulance station, a doctor's office. Now, how much you want to know, maybe that's the thing, because there's probably 70 uses maybe for a particular thing, so that would be a long list. So maybe, you want to just ask maybe generally, what are we looking for?
Right.
Looking for, business, commercial things, but not like your full sale auto dealerships. I mean, so like that, but that would be the idea, yes.
Right.
It's not a particular zoning application question, but it can be related into that vicinity. So if it's about, in this case, on a hotel application in that district, you wouldn't ask, are motels there? You would just be, what's allowable? What types of, are there lodging is their education, and just kind of get an idea.
And that would run the gamut for, so, and I kind of want to throw this in there just to kind of make sure that we understand. So when you have departmental comments, whether it be from stormwater management, whether it be from fire, DOT, fire, whoever, if we're reading through the full application with staff comments and departmental comments, and we say, hey, I noticed DOT said XYZ, what does this mean with regards, like, can we ask, what do these comments mean?
The comments from the specific application,
Right,
probably not. In
Okay.
that type, but you could certainly email that
okay,
to staff and say, I've noticed this on application, whatever. What does that mean? Or give me clarity, and then get a response in that regard. And then you can follow up if you got the email during the staff report and say, I asked you this question, I'm still uncertain, or now I have a different question, can you help point me to that? And the email would tip off staff to be clear that they have the answer for you too, and do that. But if you did at a work session, anything that's pulling from the application or trying to make a comment or decision on the application, I'd probably avoid and just save that for the public hearing meeting, because then everybody's there and has an opportunity to hear it, those opposed and those in favor, so they can hear your question. And then know that they'll have an opportunity to maybe rebuttal it at their public hearing, or when they have a comment. Because they're like, oh, I noticed that you guys asked this, I want to give you an answer, and now I know. And if it's at a work session, they won't be able to do that, right? There's no opportunity for them to respond. And that's kind of what, it's under the zoning procedure, the fairness for the applicant is where we're trying to go. But if you're more general in a work session, to get context of how you might ask the specific question at the next meeting, it's probably fine.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? At these work sessions, are you wanting the applicant present?
No, not necessarily.
Well, if I may,
Or
once again, my reference point is what Cobb County did prior to Mableton Plan Commission existing, and the applicant was welcome to attend. It is a public meeting. It's an advertised meeting, as you said. It happens on a Monday, week and a half, as you said, about 10 days before the scheduled meeting, and then it is open to anybody. I was able to walk in and sit down, and I understand what our council is trying to caution us against, I guess you could say. But I do think, as is the particular example here, we don't often think to send that email in the middle of the month. But when you end up at that work session, you're looking at it again, you're reviewing the comments. In the case of the meetings I attended previously, staff was there. So DOT was there, Stormwater was there. All the people that had made comments were there. So if there was a need to clarify something or a need to get an explanation of what uses are allowed or something like that, it was at everybody's fingertips at that moment. Whereas in this meeting, it's not necessarily. So once again, it seemed to help with the flow. One other item I'd like to add to the discussion is, once our agenda gets a little more full, it, I think, would shorten the time that we spend here going back and forth with staff by allowing some of those things to be clarified outside of this evening's meeting. So, and there are agenda items that are on a consent agenda in some cases. I don't know if we're going to move to that in the future as a Mableton Planning Commission, but there are different things that we can be discussing about the agenda. Once again, email does in some ways facilitate that, but sitting together as a group and discussing it often expedites that process.
right, to that point, I think there's been, with the Board of Commissioners, when they had zoning hearings, there's been times in the past where they had 10 cases, and we spent X amount of time on one, so multiply that times 10, and it can get a little lengthy. So if there's questions or clarification that we can get prior to, then it helps us to push things along. Not to say that the applicant won't have their fair shot to plead their case, but if there's technical questions that we can get answered before, whether it be for, if it's staff, departmental, anything like that, not saying that departments have to be present because that's probably a logistical issue there. But just having the opportunity to ask the questions beforehand, get clarification, and then we can take it home and chew on it a little more. That could potentially help us, like, as Commissioner Valenzuela said, what happens when we have 5, 8, 10 cases on the agenda?
Yeah, and maybe, and I don't know if more or different staff here would help, but you might be in the same situation, like I said, a work session, if you're asked questions that aren't ready to be answered, but I guess it would prime that answer to be ready at the next one.
Right, the answer, like,
Because
asking that question, they'd be prepared.
Yeah.
If they can't answer it, then either respond via email or at the public hearings, like, hey, you guys asked for clarification on X, here's the answer.
And I need to amend my no in response to your question of did I want applicants there? I wouldn't expect applicants to have to come, but certainly, yes, it's a public meeting. So if we're to ask questions via email, do we copy the entire planning commission? Or I was concerned that was somehow an open meetings issue.
That's not a constitutional meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question on a different subject, though. Okay.
Yeah,
Can you guys hear me? Okay,
That's what I
so
said earlier.
we received the email on the 29th stating that the applicant for REZ 2025-004 located at 6581 Queen Mill Road was holding a community meeting at the library. And that there will be representation from the planning staff, Mr. Sunday. Now, are we entitled to receive the findings from that community meeting? Did he document anything? Does that come to us or I'm just because I didn't see anything and I didn't know if it was because we're not entitled to it or?
Yeah, so
what?
you'll see the results of that in the next packet. So the applicant is going to be heard in October. So when you receive your packet, you'll see the results of that community meeting. So you'll see the sign-in sheet and then you see the questions that were asked and the summary of those questions. You can always attend those type of meetings. We would like to, again, make those meetings, again, kind of a regular thing where the applicant holds those meetings so you can attend and see exactly what's going on. But what we're requiring from the applicant is to do a sign-in sheet and then a summary of what questions and topics were discussed at that meeting.
You're asking the applicant
yes.
to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm correct that we're able to go to those meetings?
Yes.
2 of us did go to that meeting.
You're
We just
able.
have, when we get to 3, then the 4th of us can't attend.
Yep.
Because it would become a
That's-
public meeting.
It'll be the quorum thing, and again, that might be in a similar situation, what might be seen as impacting your decision here. So the same reason why like city council was not really advised to come here and listen to you, because they want to keep their decisions separate.
Right.
And they want you to do your work and then submit your recommendation. So like now below you, the community section, for them to do their work and then submit the recommendations for you to decide. So again, it's just kind of like trying to keep that a little bit impartial, the idea where, what you're seeing is from everybody all at once. And your decision is then reflected from the community, from the applicant, from anybody else there from the city. So just like, that's the idea, right, of all these different layers.
So are you saying that we shouldn't attend the community meetings?
I don't I don't think you're prohibited, but I just think that again, because you're always about the
Appearance.
Yeah, the appearance of it, and so it may seem like you're getting more information or not. It could be seen from somebody.
Okay, and that was my next question was, are we because you said we're encouraged to attend, but then when I saw that it said the planning staff was going to be there, I thought that meant that we probably shouldn't attend. And if there's only 2 from our committee that can attend, what's the process for us to put notification out so 3 or 4 of us don't show up?
we should probably do that internally to say, hey, there is a community
Via
meeting
email.
and I plan to attend. And then we figure out like, hey, two people are going or 3 people going. All right, that's it. Nobody else go.
Okay.
I don't think that's something that they're going to mandate. I think we have to do that ourselves, police ourselves with that.
There's like a report from this community?
Yeah, so right now, again, it's a summary of exactly what the topics were talked about and the concerns from it. The idea, again, the community meeting is to allow the applicant to have a one-on-one dialogue with the community, and the community can ask questions because we're at this point in time, we would like for any type of issues that may arise regarding the community, they can at least address that with the applicant one-on-one and have some form of understanding or agreement when it comes to the application. And then by the time it comes to the planning commission, those concerns might have already been addressed in the agreement, and then either they get support or they don't get support. But one, to at least have that written down and provided to you to show that they had a community meeting. These are the residents that attend, and these are a summary of the conversations and so forth.
Yeah, and that's because there are many communities that do that. That's actually some of the ordinance require that they go to the community first. And so maybe another reason why you maybe wouldn't want to attend is often the applicants go to that meeting, they hear from the complaints from the community, and then they amend their application. And so you'll get presented with what they are amended and what they have support for. But if you're there, you're going to maybe hear it all. So you're kind of hearing it anew. Because that's the point. Like, okay, we want to do X. We went right to the community. We're going to put this building right next to you. And then they say, well, I have a problem with this, this, and this. Okay, well, we'll modify this. We'll build the wall a little higher. We'll do this, and then they submit a new plan. And then that comes to you. Now you're seeing what they actually want to do. So just thoughts to consider.
Okay.
In this case, our community meetings are apparently after the application has been published. So,
But they may submit, I think they can amend. Yeah, so published when, so we we just did so I don't really consider it to be on the agenda until I do the legal ad. So you can have posting on the sign because you still have to do the legal ad and you still have to do notices to the surrounding property. Again, it's because if the legal ad doesn't post it, then again, we just amend the public hearing sign and the public note, the mailing. But once I do my legal ad, then it's a full go at that point in time. That's when I consider it to be a done deal in the word, because again, the city is submitting a legal ad saying that this is going to occur at this meeting in time. Everything else, because we have to submit everything 30 days in advance, there is time for it to submit to the applicant to amend its site plan, to submit a revised site plan. Even the applicant can still submit a revised site plan after I publish my legal ad. But again, usually we like to have a community meeting when an application is submitted because that lets me know that the applicant is seriously about having going forward with their zoning application. The worst thing that I want to do is to request applicant to have a community meeting, and then you don't hear from them for the next 6 months. By submitting an application to us, that means you are intending to actually go through the zoning process. So therefore, there is some skin in the game to actually meet with the community and hear from them. Because I had one applicant who decided to have a community meeting without my prior knowledge about what's going on, and automatically I had people calling about, I need to see the application. I don't have an application. I wasn't aware a community meeting was happening. The applicant decided to have one prior before submitting anything to staff. So again, staff is left in the position of, I don't have any information to provide you on this applicant who had a community meeting that I wasn't aware of having. So kind of puts eggs on our faces saying that people are having community meetings and we're not aware of what they're having a community meeting about. So we encourage them to have a community meeting after they submit their application, and we determine it to be complete, and then we'll give you a tentative date as far as when this is happening, and so we can kind of move forward from that point.
well, it just doesn't, having been to this one community meeting, it just doesn't feel to me that I came away from it with any information that anybody else wouldn't have. It's the applicant was in charge of this meeting and was able to, pretty much set the tone of the meeting. And so he certainly got a fair shake out of it. I'm hard pressed to understand I'm hard pressed to understand that our attendance at a community meeting somehow biases our decision-making in the hearing.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you. I mean, well, here's the other thing about that. It is a community, it is the applicant, because the applicant is seeking something from the city. So it should behoove the applicant to go out and meet the community. Again, the community is there, and that's why we're required to have a summary of the application of what was talked about and discussed, and to see who signed in. And because then once we have a public hearing meeting, when we provide the information to you, was provided to us from the applicant, and then staff being there present, it becomes like kind of a calling out session as far as saying, well, did you have a meeting? Yes. And you can say, well, this is not what we discussed. This is not what we talked about. And then, okay, well, go back and have a community meeting and let's actually have it there. The thing that I caution about having the city involved during the community meeting, it requires more staff time and more staff being available to do this. Staff is not that big as it is anyhow. One, also, we are very limited in our meeting spaces. Our meeting spaces require money for us to hold those spaces at this point in time. Right now, the spaces that we are using that we recommend is the South Cobb Regional Library. When, again, we've talked to the applicant that if you're going to have staff be there, it has to be during the week. We need a couple of days in advance to have that. We're working out trying to logistics of doing that, but we're just limited in where we can have these type of meetings at this point in time. So to kind of not leave it just to staff to find this location, we're encouraging the applicant, hey, you need to go out here, you need to do this as well as do the public notice sign and the mailing as well too.
But we will publish it.
Yes, so that is a discussion amongst of like, if we're going to, once we get into more of our regular routine of having these communities, how will we be publishing, how will we be notifying the public of these communities? Vice Chair did ask the same thing regarding this past community meeting. We do have a communications director now who seems to be really helpful as far as notifying as such. So I anticipate that if we do have these community meetings and kind of have at a centralized location, we will be able to notify the community that, hey, there's a community meeting for this and so forth.
If I may, just to circle back on the work session discussion, is there a possibility you could reach out to the Cobb County zoning manager and just get a sense of their philosophy or their thought process behind the work sessions?
Yes,
and
sir.
see
Yep.
if that offers some direction on how we might proceed?
Yep, yes, sir.
Thank you.
I will do that.
All right. Oh.
Just, if I may, one last question before we wrap it up. So if there were, in some world where we get to the point where we're having a agenda meeting, a work session meeting, is a work day available, or is this something strictly that would be in an evening?
Evening.
I'm sorry, I won't have any availability in the daytime.
I'm just putting that out there too, because that will impact, we're working with legal to see how we can get through that, but staffing would be a serious issue as well. And so we're not able to commit to evenings.
Gotcha.
We would have to have staffing available. So I just wanted to put that out there too.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
And I think as a PC, we can continue to have internal conversations about how we can best get the information or get our questions answered while they go back and reconvene and figure out what is and it's not possible. I think we can still continue to have our own conversations and continue to pepper staff with emails, phone calls if necessary to try to figure it out.
We have a new planner starting Monday.
You have a new, I'm sorry, say it again?
City planner starting Monday.
Okay.
So we will have more staff available too.
Okay, that's helpful.
In the meantime, while this, is being discussed, worked out, would a training session covering the zoning ordinance be helpful? Or like districts or uses or anything like in generality? Or are you guys pretty good with that at this point?
Well, can I be honest?
Please do.
We have had training, and the training was good, but this is a totally new area for me, so I'm a little out of my comfort zone. So that's why I do like the work sessions, because the idea of the work sessions, because I do feel like it gives me a little bit more insight before the actual meeting. But I understand why it may not work for us to have them as well. And training is good, but it's kind of theory. So if we can have like real walkthroughs of cases here, or, to just go back and say how we did it, what we missed, how we could have done it better, that would help me, I think. I don't know about anybody else. Because I'm very green still, even though I've been through the training.
Yeah, I mean, it could be some overall. It could take some zoning ones, years ago from Cobb, maybe like an old thing, and send them out, and then say here's one that was discussed. Here's all the issues. And I don't know if that would help, like a mock, one that maybe they did years ago based on similar zoning type designations, but
That could be helpful.
I guess we're just such a unique situation, it's a new city with, commission, so I guess that's the nuances of us is everything is new.
Your microphone.
I guess that's the nuances of us, is everything is new. New city, new commission, so
yeah,
willing to serve, but just not, my background.
yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll move to the last item on the agenda, which is adjourning. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We will adjourn this tonight's meeting. Thank you all.
Oh, everybody make sure you sign out of your Gmail account